So with all the hype with Elon Musk, right? He's bought Twitter. Yeah, it's supposed to be about free speech, and he has all these plans of doing different things. I seen a tweet today about the algorithm, like how he plans on sound like almost get rid of the algorithm, kind of. But anyway, so there's this ex porn star, right? Her name's Lisa Ann. I don't know much about her or like her podcast, or even if it's a podcast, or maybe she was a star on a show. But she had voiced her frustration about Twitter being one of the biggest distributors, if not the biggest distributor of porn to minors, right? So minors are able to access pornography through Twitter, really easy, and that she's basically wanting Elon Musk to do something about that, and curious if he's going to do anything about it or whatnot. But in the light of the recent episodes that we've done about Disney, getting mad about Disney.
We're about to cancel Disney because
we're going to cancel Disney because they're going to have gay characters or whatever the case may be, right? It got me thinking. Like, I've heard little things here in the past, about pornography and this and that, but I feel like the church is somewhat silent. We did our whole episode about pornography and how it affects so many people in the church, but it's kind of like one of those things that nobody talks about. Yeah. But it was like, you know what? Christians don't really voice out our frustrations, or maybe we do. Like, I guess that's the question. Like, what do you think? Like, how do we react? Not just to Twitter, but like you think of social media in general. That there's parental blocks and these sorts of things, but like, what else? How do you respond? What can we do better? What's the church not doing? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah,
like, I've never had a tweeting account.
Yeah,
like, I think it's cool. Like, I've seen it. Like, I think I followed some players, athletes, right, things like that, and when it first was hot and they were kicking, whatever they thought, their thoughts and expressions.
Yeah.
So I'm not too familiar with Twitter.
Yeah.
But I do know there's a lot of kids and there's a lot of teenagers and high schoolers and that do have Twitter, and I never knew, right, until this conversation, that you can actually see pornography on Twitter, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's snippets, whether it's, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, should we get on there real quick and see how
I don't know.
So I didn't know that, right? But obviously she knows. Like, obviously she knows.
Yeah, she's an ex-porn star.
So, first of all, alert parents or anybody who's watching this, like, I didn't know that, right? So if your kids or teenagers or friends or family people have Twitter, it's there.
Yeah.
Now, I think we should equally, now that I know that, right? I take a stance. Like, if Twitter's doing that, then I think that we should stand up and say something, right? Yeah. Like, if you're exposing our kids to things that it's easily accessible to them now, like, I think we should say something. Like, we want to cancel Disney, or we want to say, hey, don't do that, but yet we're okay with Twitter. So I can agree with that.
I don't know if you have to if you're supposed to be a certain age to have a Twitter. They put all these things on there that I think by law justifies. You're like, supposed to be they know, like, man, kids are gonna make fake accounts or whatever the case may be. I don't know if there is an age thing like that for Twitter, but it is sad and sick, and it almost seems sort of like it's like the internet's it's regulated, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? We literally could look up pornography right now. The kids could too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And kids figure out a way behind a way around stuff, and even actually, even on like kids stuff with parental blocks, these things pop up that are still questionable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of like lead the mind astray in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it seems like there could be done more to regulate these things. So I get health benefits through an organization, right? And I can log into things and get medications and do all these certain things. In order to get access to any of that, I had to upload like 3 different picture documents, like all these different things. I feel like that there could be some sort of, well, I'm against all of it totally, but I feel like as a country there could be more of something like that, a verification process
Security
set in
measures,
place.
something to make
Yeah,
sure
to where
that
you
minors
just
are
can't
not
go and
accessing.
look at pornography.
Right.
You know what I mean? So should the Christians be in uproar? Should we be saying stuff about this? Like,
Yeah, I think
we talk about Roe v. Wade, we talk about Disney, we do all
Right.
these stuff. Why don't I ever hear this? Especially when statistically, go look them up. I don't remember what it was. It's been a while since we did that episode. But what was it, like 70-80% of men and women in churches are battling pornography?
And that was statistics from like a couple years ago.
And that's men. That's not little kids going through puberty.
Right.
And
So, I mean, I'll be transparent, right? You know where I'm going with this, but
Yeah.
I have a 14-year-old, and we recently found out that he had been watching porn.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was like, oh, okay, it's a one thing or whatever. No, he had been watching porn for a long time. So I
and
felt
you didn't know.
we didn't know, right? And I felt like a failure. That was the
Parent.
first thing I did. I felt like a failure as a parent, right?
Yeah.
And we had to come to Jesus moment and prayed about it and cried about it and explained once again. And he got to the point where he said, like, he's like, I don't want to watch, but I watch. And
You can't help it.
I can't help it, right? I can't help it. So, yeah, like, I now am trying to figure out, like, I was behind the curve. I should have been ahead of it. We talked about it, but there's nowhere where I check his phone every now and then, but I never, ever, like, really, like, checked, you know? And now the iPhone, there's things that I didn't even know, right? Like the whole family features that you have, you can block content. Does it block it all? Probably not, right? But
Is there ways around it? Yeah.
probably, right?
When I was a kid, I covered my tracks.
Yeah.
Doing things.
With daddy's Playboys.
When I was real little, it was not my daddy's Playboys. My friends down the streets' daddy had Playboys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But once the internet came out, you can delete your browsing history
Right.
and do all these different things.
Right. So now I would say that, right? Like, be careful with what your kids are watching, because it happened to me and I didn't even think nothing about it.
Yeah.
But now, like, iPhone's pretty good. I have an iPhone. Shout out iPhone. If you want to sponsor us, you can sponsor us. I'm plugging you. Yeah, right. Anyways, but they had a feature. There's a feature on there that you can block content, and it's pretty good. I block screen time. It shuts the phone off. I give them a certain time where it shuts the phone off. I tried to do searches, pornography searches on the phone before I gave him his phone back. He was without a phone for like 4 months, and it worked.
Yeah.
But will they find a way?
Yeah, because you think that's what you were doing. And then it say, but before that, you're a good Christian man. You're trying to do your best, raise your family the right way. That don't mean everybody that your son's interacting with is doing the same thing.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I said if there was certain measures that the government or somebody that's in charge of these things put in place, where it just wasn't that easy to get it. You know what I mean?
I think there should be, right? And you're right. I don't think we talk about it enough. We don't call for it enough, right? Like, I mean, there was that victory last couple years ago, right, where Pornhub like removed like a bunch of pornography, but it was more like aggressive.
Yeah, stuff that
stuff.
maybe rape stuff, aggressive stuff, maybe underage
Right.
stuff.
So that was like a victory, like it's a victory. But yes,
I think it wasn't even fought by like Christians.
That was just normal people saying this is immoral, right? Immoral.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say stand up. We need to stand up more. If we want to cancel Disney because they're pushing transgender, homosexuality, LGBTQ stuff, then we should stand up against Twitter. We should stand up just in the internet in general, right?
Yeah.
But once again, what do? We're not going to get rid of it. Like, it's not going to go away. So I think as parents, so what do? Right? We have to be proactive.
Pray, teach your children scripture. Scripture, pray, be proactive. That's really, I think, all you can do. And then, like you said, monitor and do the best you can.
Talk about it too.
Yeah, talk about it.
Because you can't just, I even knew that it was possible, right? And I tried to get ahead of it and I still failed. Still failed.
And you know what, you mentioned being transparent too, but like I had a similar experience, and it started with a word that my kid heard at school that they then heard somebody repeat playing video games, which led them to search what the word was.
Yeah.
That led to something else that spiraled out of control.
Yeah. It can happen so fast.
And that's the thing. You think there are men and women that have been looking at porn since they were kids, and they're married with children. They can't get over. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
Like drugs. Like, this is serious business. And I feel like I'm guilty of it too. I get caught up in the political scale of things and like, oh, Disney and they're pushing gender identity and this and that. And it's kind of like I said, the culturally thing, kind of like where you fit in like the political atmosphere of our country. But we kind of forget about these other, like, yeah, I think those are issues, but it's almost like, yeah, Disney's one thing and school this thing, but this is almost like the bigger issue that's kind of like looming in the back. And we're like looking at this stuff while this is like,
and maybe it's more because like you know what you're getting, right? Yeah. Like you know that the porn industry is out there, and you know that it's there. And it's something we got to fight.
Yeah.
And I think Disney was just like, shh, we're gonna sneak this in here.
That's
true.
You
know what I mean, and it was more like,
how dare you?
How dare you
to
kids, right?
Manipulating the children.
So yeah. I get it, man. So all right, I just think we need to be more vigilant about it.
More vigilant, proactive, pray.
Yeah. Pray about it, and it's there. So I would say if we're gonna take a stance, once again we talk about Disney or whatever, then we need to take a stance for everything, right?
What advice do you have for parents? Like you said, you thought you were doing everything right, and then this was just like caught you off guard.
I think,
what advice do you have for parents that might be going through they're feeling like failures, like, God, what did I do wrong? Man.
So I would say first off, don't think that your kid's not doing it, or it's not my kid, right?
Yeah,
because you're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being proactive or being cautious, checking cell phones. That's how we got it.
Yeah.
Like my wife looked at his phone and she saw some stuff, right? So you have to be able to be transparent and not be afraid to look at it. Like, right, monitor.
Well, how do you do it? Just like, because maybe you felt like a failure. Maybe you didn't do as much as you would, but I feel like you weren't a failure.
Sure.
And so how do you, and I feel like Satan likes to get in your head and make you feel like a failure. So how do you deal with, what advice do you have for parents? Because I feel like that too. As parents, we feel like failures a lot. How do you get past that feeling like a failure? How do you get past that feeling like a failure? And
you know what, I think my wife struggled a little bit, right? And I did too in a sense, but I don't think that we've tried everything we can. Like we talked about it. All you can do is tell them, be proactive, scripture, check. And if they still do it, then it's not on you.
Yeah.
Right? It's not.
No, that's good.
It's not on you.
And we live in a fallen world. These things are gonna happen. People are gonna fail you. And we are gonna fail as people. That's why we need God even more.
But I would encourage you to be honest, right? Like we pulled him, we talked to him, we loved on him, we were mad at him, but we loved on him, and we said this is not okay, and like he struggled, and he still probably has urges. Like we talked, so it's not a thing where we don't talk about it. Like I asked him, dude, hey, what's up? Are you doing all right? Like you getting urges? Or like he even a few times where he actually got the cell phone that was hiding, and he found one and looked at it again, right? This was a couple weeks into the punishment, or I don't want to say punishment, but trying to take his stuff away.
Yeah. Trying to regulate.
The embarrassment crap needs to go away. Like, you should not be ashamed. You should not be embarrassed. Like, the old church of, no, we don't talk about that, or this is, like, it's stupid.
And you want to know how good it feels, like, one, like I told you things, too, to be able to take those things that maybe people wouldn't tell them. I don't want to know that about my kid.
Right.
Like when I experience these deep things that you're kind of like, I don't know what to do. And then being able to confide in another parent.
Yeah.
And then even like, when you called and told me, it made me feel like we're a team on this. I can pray. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, about like crying, thinking about it. Because to me, that's what it's, the church, the family, the brethren. To me, that's what it's about. Because it's like not, damn, about to cry. It's like not only are you in the fight, or not only is he in the fight, but your parents are in the fight, but I'm in the fight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the way I think it should be.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah.
I love you, man. That's good. I see.
You don't make out or what?
But yeah, I think we pick our battles, right? But I do think pornography is a one that
I do too.
It's tough, man.
It
alters and changes the course of people's lives, kids' lives,
and how your brain
married lives, how you function, how you perceive a woman, a marriage, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. Like, it changes everything.
It's very bad.
All right. So, come on, Elon Musk, cancel pornography on Twitter,
and then everywhere else.
All right, bro.
All right.